Have you ever sat in a room full of people and felt like an absolute fraud, terrified that someone will notice you do not belong? You hesitate before speaking, overthink every word, and let weaker voices talk over you simply because they sound louder. You tell yourself that real leaders never doubt themselves, that they were born with an unshakable armor you somehow missed out on. But what if the knot in your stomach isn't proof of your weakness, but proof of your potential? What if self-doubt isn't an unbeatable wall, but a signal that you are playing at a level that actually matters? When you look around the room, do you want to keep hiding behind quiet comfort, or are you ready to demand the space you deserve? At first glance, Harvey Specter seems like the worst possible person to teach you about overcoming insecurity. He walks through Manhattan in $1,000 suits, radiating a level of swagger that feels completely detached from normal human emotion. To the untrained eye, Harvey looks like a hyper-arrogant fantasy figure who was born immune to self-doubt. But look closer at how he operates under real threat. Harvey isn't a superhero. He is a master strategist who built a psychological system to eliminate hesitation. He does not rely on empty positive affirmations or fake motivational energy. Instead, he uses precise behavioral protocols to channel pressure into performance. He is an unexpected teacher because his swagger is actually a carefully engineered shield designed to protect high-stakes execution. Before we break down his playbook, let us get one thing straight. Do not attempt to copy the bluff without the preparation behind it. Intimidation without substance makes you a playground bully, not a closer. Harvey can risk everything on a single card only because he spent hours memorizing every card in the deck. If you mirror his posture without doing the work, you will fail spectacularly. Why does Harvey Specter matter to someone struggling with internal hesitation today? Because in modern society, most people are conditioned to shrink when challenged. We are taught to apologize for taking up space, to seek consensus before moving, and to mistake passive compliance for politeness. Harvey represents the exact antithesis of this self-defeating mindset. He shows us what happens when a person refuses to let external circumstances dictate their internal value. He operates in corporate shark tanks where vulnerability is weaponized, yet he never breaks. Understanding Harvey is not about learning how to be ruthless. It is about learning how to anchor your identity so firmly that no room, no boardroom, and no adversary can shake your foundation. Scene 1. The leverage of preparation over bluff. The first thing you notice when observing Harvey in action is that his boldest moves are never random gambles. Most people see his dramatic bluffs in court and assume he wins on pure nerve. The reality is that Harvey grounds every risk in meticulous groundwork. The battle between preparation versus bluff is where true confidence is forged. A bluff creates temporary panic, but deep preparation creates permanent leverage. Confidence without evidence is just delusion, but preparation renders confidence inevitable. When you enter a negotiation knowing 10 steps ahead of your opponent, self-doubt vanishes because reality is on your side. Harvey does not gamble on luck. He engineers situations where his preparation makes his victory mathematically probable. Lesson 2. The power of controlled silence. Another reason this works is how Harvey uses space in conversation. Insecure people talk rapidly to fill uncomfortable pauses because quietness feels like a confession of ignorance. They confuse noise with strength. Harvey understands the profound dynamic of silence versus noise. Noise demands attention, but silence commands respect. When backed into a corner, he slows his speech down, makes direct eye contact, and lets uncomfortable silence crush his opponent's composure. Silence projects supreme self-control, forcing the other side to scramble and reveal their motives. By refusing to rush into defensive explanations, you signal that your position is unshakable. When you master controlled silence, you stop defending your seat at the table and start controlling the room. Lesson 3. Choosing competence over charm. The deeper lesson is how Harvey balances personal appeal with execution. Many people rely entirely on being agreeable, hoping that personal warmth will shield them from criticism. Harvey rejects this trap by prioritizing competence versus charm every single time. Charm gets you in the door, but raw competence secures your position when the storm hits. Harvey knows that charisma without results is fragile, while unyielding expertise commands authority regardless of mood or personality. When you know you are the best at what you do not need to perform tricks to win approval. You let your track record do the speaking, converting anxiety into undeniable execution. Tell Sinford. Choosing being respect over being liked. To understand his psychological armor, examine his fundamental priorities in relationships. Harvey never bends his standards to win cheap affection. He operates on the distinction between being liked versus being respected. Seeking to be liked forces you to compromise your boundaries and dilute your message to keep everyone comfortable. Seeking respect, however, demands that you hold the line on your principles and deliver results, even when it creates friction. When you prioritize being respected over being liked, you stop asking for permission to exist. Harvey accepts that conflict is a natural side effect of high performance. When you stop chasing universal approval, you free yourself from the burden of pleasing people who do not carry your weight. Lesson 5. Alleging loyal with ambition. A crucial component of Harvey's mindset is how he handles professional devotion and personal drive. Many view career growth as a zero-sum game where you must betray others to rise. Harvey navigates the tension of loyalty versus ambition by merging them into a single code. His loyalty to Jessica Pearson and Mike Ross is not passive submission. It is a strategic choice rooted in shared standards. He fights ruthlessly for those in his circle because he knows true ambition requires an unshakable tribe. By standing firmly by your people while relentlessly pursuing excellence, you build an ironclad foundation that eliminates the isolation of success. Lesson 6. Reframing the stakes in high-pressure moments. When faced with catastrophe, average people freeze because they treat failure as a fatal verdict on their personal worth. Harvey shifts his perspective instantly. Instead of viewing a crisis as a threat, he views it as an opportunity to change the rules of the game. When someone puts a gun to his head, he does not panic. He pulls out a bigger gun or calls their bluff. Reframing the stakes allows you to detach emotionally from the immediate terror and focus purely on strategic countermeasures. Lesson 7. Projecting absolute certainty. Solve success. Self-doubt thrives in the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Harvey bridges this gap by acting with total conviction before the outcome is guaranteed. He does not wait for victory to feel confident. He projects certainty as a strategy to create victory. Body language, vocal tone, and posture are not just reflections of internal state. They are tools to alter reality. Harvey Specter doesn't win because he never feels self-doubt. He wins because he refuses to let his self-doubt negotiate his terms. When you project absolute certainty, you alter how others treat you, which in turn fuels your actual capacity to deliver. Here is the practical reality check you must keep in mind. Do not adopt Harvey's emotional isolation or his tendency to keep every vulnerability buried behind walls of anger. His unwillingness to trust people often creates unnecessary crises that almost destroy his personal life. You do not need to live on an island to be strong. Take his discipline, his preparation, his boundary setting, and his poise under pressure, but leave behind the toxic belief that asking for help is a sign of weakness. Self-doubt will always show up when you step into arena moments that matter. The difference between an amateur and a closer is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let fear dictate the strategy. Stop waiting for permission to feel qualified. You do not build confidence by standing still. You build it by stepping directly into the storm, equipped with preparation and unshakable self-respect. Reframe your identity today. You are no longer someone who hides from pressure. You are someone who thrives because of it. Step up, take control of your story, and close the deal.